So you've mentioned your parents a little bit already. What did they think about when you first started going on YouTube? Like, when did they find out that you had this whole other life?
Well, I think like about the time that I started, a month in, they slowly started to find out that I was doing these videos, but I was doing it very like minimal. I would create like a video every like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and plus I wasn't in like a very high grade at the time. I think I was in grade 9, so the education wasn't that strict, and my parents didn't really care that I was doing this on the side. But as years started to progress, and the curriculum got a little more strict, and it was a little harder to keep them both going time to time. That's when my parents got a little annoyed, and they wanted me to just quit YouTube, and they wanted me to pursue my education, which I completely understand. And I feel like if I was in my father's shoe, I would say the same thing to my kid, because at that time the industry was uncertain. I don't think any father would want their kid to be going in an industry, that's uncertain, that might not lead them to success. Because at the end of the day, it is our parents that have left everything, back home to make sure they bring us here, and they make sure that we have a good future. They've sacrificed everything in their life for us. So for me, I would never say that it was something that, they did just because they wanted me not to, become successful. Obviously, something that, they did out of care and out of love for me, which I understand completely. But initially, I think they weren't supportive of me making content. But as it started to grow, and as my videos started to go viral, more people started to find out. Slowly and slowly, they became more supportive. But as of right now, I did drop out of uni. I made it up till second year, and my dad tells me that no matter how rich you get, or no matter how successful you get, you have to finish your education. So I'm working my best on that as well, to try to finish my education on the side as well.
Do you find it comes easy for you to be able to handle the studies and learning and do YouTube?
The thing is, at the end of the day, my way of thinking is that the most two important things in your life are time and money. Those are the two important things that you have going for you. You either have time or you have money, and university takes both of them. It takes time and it takes money. So when you're getting into university, don't just get into it for the sake of it. Get into it understanding that you're investing your time and you're investing money, which, if it goes to a waste, could have been invested somewhere else, where you could have made something bigger. Maybe, like, the example that I give is that I had someone in my program. I don't want to take his name, but there was a person in my program, the same program I dropped out from. He graduated from the program. Before the program, he was a wedding photographer. And then after he graduated, he was still a wedding photographer. So at the end of the day, what I'm thinking is that, why did you graduate just to stay the same that you were before graduating? And had you not put that time into university, that same time you could have invested into making your business bigger. You could have spent that money somewhere else. You could have had better equipment. You could have had like a nice place to live in, a nice car, like anything, whatever makes an individual happy, because everyone has their own definition of happiness. So whatever makes you happy, you could have invested that time and money in. And that's why the whole thing about like having it go side by side, coming back to the question, can you take education and university, I mean, sorry, education and YouTube work side by side? You can. But for me, the thing is that I am very like, what's that word called? I'm like very, like, I'm like a perfectionist when it comes to content. I want to make sure that all my work is done to my maximum capability. And I feel like doing that with YouTube at the same time is tough, because at the end of the day, you don't want to have it both going side by side and they both flop, like, let's say you're putting more effort in one thing at once, the other one's failing, then you slowly go to the other one, then this is failing, and at the end of the day you fail both. So instead of losing both, I think it's smarter to pick one and then just go with that. So that's what I did. I picked my career at the time over my education, and that was my reasoning why.
Did you have an idea of what you wanted to be? Like, aside, was it always like, okay, I'm going to make YouTube like my full time career, or was there another career path you were going to go on?
To be honest, I did it because I loved it. I never even thought money could be made from this. It was like 5 6 years into it that I even learned that any sort of monetization or any sort of money could be made from this. I think that if the money aspect didn't come to it, then realistically, like, you need money to support a family to move forward in life. So I might have quit it and done something else in life. But I'm very grateful that it did come, and it did stay well for me. But on the other end, if I think that this wasn't a career for me, this question's also asked a lot to me, that people say that if you weren't a YouTuber, what would you be? And to be honest, even to this day, I have no idea. Like, I had no interest in anything. Like, I don't even know what I would have became, like I would have become. So that question, I think, will always be a mystery in my mind as well, that if YouTube hadn't worked out for me, or if YouTube was never in my life, what would have I become?
So I'm curious, then, what program are you taking then? Is it like a business program?
Yes, so it was actually called Global Business and Digital Arts. It was a new program in University of Waterloo. It came out around 2 years before I entered it, and it seemed promising. Everyone was like, "This is going to be the next big thing." It's like, combining business and digital arts together. So it's like the perfect combination of what you would need as a YouTuber, because you learn the business side, and the digital arts is like Photoshop, video editing. You'll learn that aspect as well. So it's a perfect combination. But I just never found it interesting. I just never found it worth my time.
Okay. So you already mentioned 10 years you've had YouTube success, which is amazing because you're still so young, you're in your 20s. Can you believe you when you hear yourself say, I've been doing this for 10 years? That's like a long time.
Yeah, I can, but the thing is, nobody believes that I'm in my 20s. So for me, like it's something that's crazy. But for a lot of other people, are like, they probably think that, oh, he's lying. He's not in his 20s. He's been probably doing this for way longer. He's like at least mid 30s. So the crazy part is that, so for me and my wife, it's always the opposite. So my wife is older than I am, but people say she's younger than me, and I'm younger than her, and people say I'm older than her. So this is the one thing that, although, like, it seems crazy that it's been 10 years, and I feel like I've been really blessed, because so many people have started at the same time that I did, but a lot of them, stopped, or a lot of them, just didn't make it. I just feel like it's like a grind that you just have to keep pushing yourself, keep going. And yeah.
Why did you make it? Do you ever think back and go, why me? What was it about my videos that went viral?
Basically, if I was to put it in something, I don't know what it was about my videos. The main thing that I think about, the reason could be behind my success, is not my hard work, but my parents' prayers. I feel like my parents have been very loyal, after, like, in terms of, like, always praying for me, and always making sure that, whatever I do, I stay successful in. So I feel like the love that I've gotten, a lot of my fans are also very loyal. So the three things in life that I truly believe led me to my success is my parents' prayers, the love of my fans, and me as a person, just being a good human being. I feel like just being a good person, making your fans happy, and having your parents happy, that are always continuously praying for you, I feel like is the reason why my success is there. I would never give myself credit for my success. I always feel like it's those three things that have led me to be successful in life.
And now I know you and I chatted before. You've got big goals for yourself, right? Big plans. So can you share some insight? Where do you want to take your career now in the next, maybe year or so, and then maybe the next 5 years?
Well, the thing is, like, I'm truly inspired by, like, all the content that's being created by, like, Amazon Prime in India, or Netflix. A lot of the Indian side of it, I feel like the content is amazing. I feel like, they're actually putting time into producing the content, because a lot of the Bollywood films has a lot of nepotism, as you know, that a lot of actors are just taken for the fact that, their sons or their daughters of big Bollywood actors. So the content isn't always up to par with what the capability or what the capacity can actually reach in terms of making content. So I feel like Netflix and Amazon Prime, or Z5, all these channels, or all these platforms, have taken content to a level where it should have been from the beginning. But, better late than never, we're there now. And I'm really inspired by the content that's made there. And I feel like, if I was to say what is my future in all of this, I would say that I would love to get on, one of those shows, and be a part of those, and start like a Netflix series, or, something along those lines, where not only would I be able to give people entertainment, but I would also like to give a message behind whatever I make as well. And a lot of the work that's being produced has a message behind it as well, and it's a lot of good things that are being spoken about in these series. So I think that's hopefully my next goal moving forward, if it works out. But, understanding the fact that once people perceive you as a YouTuber or a comedian, it's so hard to get people to take you in a different role. Like, let's say if it's a serious role, or if it's a role that doesn't basically fit the way people have always perceived me, that's a challenge of its own, which I would have to overcome. But that's the goal that I have in life right now.
Okay. So let's kind of describe the dream project. So if somebody came to you and said, you know what, you can do whatever you want, any role, any co-stars, what would be the dream project?
I actually have a dream project in my mind, which I was coming up by my own. I don't want to share it too much because I don't want the idea to be out, but I want to take the role of a serious character. And it's so hard because when you say the dream project, like I have the whole thing in my mind. Like I know exactly what I want to do, but unfortunately, like as much as I would love to share it, I can't because I want to actually like work on this, make a script and make a whole thing and try to like, pitch it to different platforms and see if they would love to take it on board as a project. But until like, I can't until I get to the phase where I can start pitching it or anything like that, unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to talk about it specifically.
I did read when I was researching you that you were once offered a role in Hollywood, but you turned it down.